Good evening on what is a mild, bright and sunny day. It is Tuesday the 16th of May. I've got a nice hot cup of tea. And a parcel to continue unboxing. And what I'm going to pull out next, it's time for a little bit of politics, isn't it? This is Johnson number 10, The Inside Story by Anthony Seldon and Raymond Newell. This is meant to be the kiss and tell, as it were, history of Boris Johnson's 3 years in office as Prime Minister at 10 Downing Street. So yes, Johnson at 10. So after his dramatic rise to power in the summer of 2019 amid the Brexit deadlock, Boris Johnson presided over the most turbulent period of British history in living memory. Beginning with the controversial prorogation of Parliament in August and the historic landslide election victory later that year, Johnson was barely through the door of number 10 when Britain was engulfed by a series of crises that would define its place in the world for decades to come. From the agonising upheaval of Brexit and the devastating COVID-19 pandemic to the nerve-shredding crisis in Afghanistan and the outbreak of war in Ukraine, Johnson's government ultimately unravelled after just 3 years. This gripping and jaw-dropping behind-the-scenes work of contemporary history maps Johnson's time in power from start to finish and sheds new light on the most divisive Prime Minister to have led the United Kingdom since Margaret Thatcher. Based on more than 200 interviews with key aides, allies and insiders, Johnson at 10 gives the first full account of Johnson's premiership, the shockwaves of which are still being felt today. And that's certainly true, because as I sit here, in a few weeks, we will have, the report back as to whether or not he misled or lied to Parliament over Partygate. So who knows what those shocks will continue to be. So this is actually compiled by a couple of historians. So it's not necessarily a journalistic piece as such, although they've certainly done their research. And flipping through this, we've got both of them. And we have a full list of the dramatis personae with a photograph there of Liz Truss and Boris Johnson with the caption, "Liz Truss's eagerness to succeed Johnson was clear to him from early on." So got a list of all the dramatis personae, so essentially starting off with Boris Johnson and his wife, and then the members of the cabinet, advisors, all those as advisors and those as officials, basically go for the introduction, and we start going through the history and what we've got, with the note here, Johnson always believed he should have become Prime Minister in 2016 but not Theresa May. Well, of course, Michael Gove stabbed him in the back. And this kind of sets everything up ready for him to be Prime Minister, which is essentially the best he can do, because he's never going to be king of the world as he wanted to be at the age of 7. And you would think that it's probably a good idea if he wasn't. That we do live in a monarchy, because he can't be king then. Or he can't be king except through very odd circumstances, because it could have happened. Or indeed, essentially, that we're glad that we don't live in a republic, because then he could have become president. It's all a question of which would have been worse. And so, interested to see what the thing is, if you listen to sort of like the British media, you hear lots of horror stories coming through into the news through the journalists on numerous newspapers and podcasts and news programs, and this perhaps is going to put it all in one place to talk about. There may well be other revelations, who knows. Do we have anything? Let's see whether we have. It all comes down to really this moment. Boris Johnson delivering his resignation on July 7th last year, almost a year since he's not been in office. But basically, which led to an incredibly turbulent. The day of his resignation sort of like followed an incredibly turbulent day in which he sort of like tens of ministers resign from his government, and then ultimately forcing him to resign, followed by a near disastrous Tory party election for prime minister, for Tory leader, and then utterly disastrous leadership of Liz Truss, which lasted a bare 3 months. So yeah, the problem is, of course, is that Johnson himself is a divisive figure. So there are people who think he's great. There's a lot of members of the Tory party who still think he should be in office because he guaranteed victory. There's no doubt the man has charisma and he can make a lot of promises and people will believe him. Yet the thing is, on the other side, although there's a lot of people look at him and go, yes, you're making promises you're never going to keep because you're just going to make different promises to different people, and that you are not consistent. There are so many things wrong with him as a politician, and it's fair to say that he was almost like the British version of Trump, because he woke up every day wondering what awful thing or ridiculous statement he would make on that day. So yeah, I suspect this will confirm. Obviously, I probably stand on the side of, oh my God, he's awful. Certainly was the prime, as I say, divisive. Well, I know where I stand on the divide, and I think that obviously, when I do one of these unboxings of a book about politics, I know people don't particularly enjoy them. That's why I don't put them in the main run. That's fine, okay. And obviously, some of my viewers might go, oh my God, another boring book about politics, but it's actually quite interesting, I think. I like to show them off just to go, look, well, this is the interesting packages that come into my house. This is what I'm going to read next when I've got time. Alongside all the fantastic fiction and role playing that I do. So that's how it goes. So yeah. Sorry if this is going to put you off. Anyway, so Johnson at 10. Right. Well, I hope you did enjoy this unboxing. If not, sorry about that. Otherwise, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be able to see more unboxings of the Nook, where you will see me out here with a parcel containing a book or game, or typically a role-playing game or supplement or so on, that will unbox at just about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so. All, of course, accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, rather than necessarily than me unboxing a just a book of contemporary history. Well, then of course please do click on the the subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. There'll be another unboxing along tomorrow, and it won't be a politics book, I promise you that. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Back again soon. Bye for now.